Everyone, it's me, Miss Branch, the art teacher, here with lesson 5, and we're going to talk about natural resources. You just watched a video on natural resources, and we also watched a video on collage, and we've made many collages before. But today we're going to make it out of some recyclable material. And one of the recyclable materials that I thought was the easy one was leaves. So here I have a picture that I did with leaves. I made some grass and a tree by gluing down leaves. Now leaves are important when they fall off the tree. Well, during they help feed the tree by turning sunlight into photosynthesis and turning it into food. But when they fall off the trees and they land on the ground, they eventually decompose and turn back into soil. So they add nutrients to the soil. And we need these because we have to grow our food in the soil. So we are using a natural resource, which are leaves, to make some art. So here's one. And let me go ahead and switch my camera so I can show you my other ones, and then we can get started. So, all right, so I have a pile of leaves that I went outside of my classroom on the playground and picked up a bunch of different leaves. And right outside my door is an oak tree. So I used some oak tree leaves to make a tree and some grass out of leaves, which is hilarious. And I also made some fish out of some maple leaves, and I used some of our wiggle eyes. If you still have some left, you can make something out of it. And we've done lots of different kinds of fish in our projects all along. And let me see, move that one. I did another one where I was just messing around and I used some different leaves, and I used the stems this time and made a butterfly, and then I made like a bird flying away. But you get to make anything that you can come up with. Now, you might have more rounded leaves, and you might even be lucky to find some leaves that still have some color, or you might have some leaves that are all broken up, or they have really pointy triangle looking sides, or maple leaves, and they might be some big ones or some small ones. And like these maple leaves also remind me of fingers, because you can like take a hand because it's got 5 points and fingers have 5. They could also become toes, like on a dinosaur or something. And then, oh man, I forget the name of this tree. It's another type of oak tree, because these are the ones with the big acorns, and these skinny leaves are from the oak tree that have the little acorns. And let's see, do I have any other? I have another kind of rounded leaf, but these two aren't the same kind of tree. But I have a whole pile here. And what you're going to do is go out and make a pile. Get a few different types of leaves. And like I said, some of them might still have some color in them, and some of them may not. And guess what? You don't have to leave them as the leaf shapes, because on this one, these were maple leaves. I cut off some of the leaves so it looked more like a tail. But on this one, I left the leaves as they were, and even though they were broken ones, I just used them anyway. Oh, let me make sure that's in the screen. And then I cut off the stems so that I could make the antenna. All right, so now let me play around with these leaves. And you can also cut up the leaves. You don't have to leave it the same shape that you find it in. That's totally up to you, especially when they're all dry. Because see how this isn't flat? It's going to be hard to glue this side down because it doesn't flatten. If I press too hard, I may probably crush the leaf. See, those like those pieces that are falling off. That you get to come up with anything you can think of. Let's see. Let me play around with them. Well, this kind of reminds me of a jellyfish, like a man of war jellyfish, because they have those long tentacles that so they can catch food. And let's see. Well, this kind of looks like a hand right here, like a little gingerbread man, or a hand with a thumb. Like the hand is like this one. Let me do it this way. And let me see. Maybe I can make a person. Let's see. Here's a piece of leaf. It's interesting. It kind of reminds me of a dinosaur's head. Or it could be a shark fin. Let's see if I turn it there. If I turn it this way, kind of like reminds me of the palm of a hand without the fingers. And this part would be the arm. But I kind of like the dinosaur idea. Let me think how I can make a dinosaur. Like I could use this for the body. And I can use some of these skinny oak tree leaves for the legs. Oh, this one's all squinched up. That'd be interesting. Oh, might be able to use it for like the part of the dinosaur's tail. And let me see some more. So 4 legs. And now, you know what? I'm not going to need the stem parts. What did I just do with my scissors? Ah, here we go. Let's see. So I'm going to just cut them. Now, I would suggest if you got leaves that are very dry, just to cut them off. Because if you try and rip them off, you might just end up ripping the whole leaf. So that could be 1 leg. And I just cut the stem off. And this part is curved a little bit. Maybe I need to find a flatter one. Let's see, that dried a little flatter. Okay, yeah, this one. I'm gonna cut that stem part off. 2 legs. You can come up with anything you want. You don't have to make what I'm making. You can just come up with your own creation. And it doesn't have to look like mine at all. That is the cool thing about art. Well, that one rolls around. Let me see if I can find a flat. No. Well, maybe. Let's see. So I cut the stem off. And let's see. Well, that kind of works. Now I was going for a brontosaurus kind of dinosaur. Let me move all these leaves out the way. Because of this curve, like it was the long neck. Oh, you know what? Maybe if I just cut this to make the body and cut. Oh, I can use the triangles to make like spikes on its back. Which dinosaur had spikes? Oh, the Triceratops, but they had spikes on their head. I can't think of the name of the dinosaur that had spikes. No, I had a dinosaur wheel, but I think I gave it to a student because they really like dinosaurs. Yeah, I could just cut this stem off. Let me see. If I cut this stem off, and if I cut this part off, the bottom part. And so then I get a better body, and then I can have like some spikes on the back of the dinosaur. That looks pretty cool. And you know what? Those spikes I just cut off, I can make them part of the dinosaur. You know what? It doesn't have to be a real looking dinosaur. I can make it up. And I'm quite sure there's probably a dinosaur that looks like that. Huh. And then I can give it the legs. And let's see. Now I need to give it a really long tail. Let's see if I got any more of those long, skinny ones off the oak tree. Let's see. That might work. Well, you know what? I could cut off some more triangles and put some spikes on the tail. Or I could just cut this. Let me cut that stem off. And let me just cut this side. And take my time. I'm going slow because the leaves are so dry they will break crumbly. So instead of that, then I can have more spikes on the tail. When I said ooh, is because these spikes are going this way, but these spikes are going that way. But actually, it looks pretty cool. Oh, I need to give them a 4th leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so there, and get all the extra leaves out of the way. I made a dinosaur. That's one idea. You could come up with all kinds of ideas. I don't know what you might see something else. You might even have cooler shaped leaves than I had access to when you make your leaf recycle picture. Like I said, this looks like it could be a hand. You can make a person. Oh, and you know what? Where's my bag of wiggly eyes? I could put an eye on this dinosaur. Now let me get an eye out. And so I could, there we go. That looks cool. So now let me go ahead and glue my dinosaur down. So let's see, I have the parts in place. I'm going to move them carefully so that I don't lose too much of the order. So I have my glue. Now I know that I'm going to put a few dots. Let me open the glue. I'm gonna put, you know, my rule with the glue, not a lot, just a dot. But because these leaves aren't flat, you might have to, well, I was gonna say what's going on with my glue. Wasn't coming out at first. You might have to put more than a little dot. You might have to make like a bigger dot. And now I'm gonna do a bigger dot this time and do a dot over here. And there we go. And if the glue comes out a little bit, it's gonna be okay. And I'm going to put a dot on here. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the eye on. And let's see. Dot there. Here's one of my spikes. And which way do I have the spike going? That's good. And a dot of glue there. Now, even again, you don't have to create what I'm creating. You could create anything you can come up with, because I don't know what kind of leaves you might have around your house. So you might have leaves that still have the colors on them. You might even have some leaves from an evergreen tree, like a pine tree, and have a bunch of pine needles. I put a bunch of dots on here just because it's weirdly shaped, and I'm going to press down. Oh, I don't want to press down too hard because I heard that leaf cracking. Uh-oh, moving it. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit down here where my legs are. You know what? I just noticed my legs aren't the same size. Like I got the short leg, long leg, short leg, and even shorter leg. But it's okay. It doesn't have to look realistic because we're making it out of recycled leaves. Now for my dinosaur tail. You know what? I think I moved it over a little bit when I glued it down. And so I'm going to carefully slide everything over just a little bit. It's okay if it gets a little messy. No, you know what? I think I'll leave it because I like the way the head and the spikes look. I don't want to move them too much. I'll just tuck this underneath the body a little bit. So let's see, I'm gonna put some glue. And again, not a lot, just a dot. And I'm looking for the parts that look like it'll stick to the paper better, because this leaf is not flat. So now I'm gonna slide it under. And then get the stick. And I made a really interesting looking dinosaur. So again, you can leave the leaves as they are and just glue them down and make something that way. Or you can cut some of the leaves like I did for the body and the tail and make your dinosaur that way. I mean, not dinosaur, your artwork that way. And on this one, I forgot to mention, I even crumbled up some leaves so it could look like the sand on the bottom of the water for my fish. And I did cut these a little bit because they were maple leaves. Where's the maple leaf? Where's one that's not? Oh, they were maple leaves. And so I just used like one corner of the maple leaf for the tail. See one, oh, I'm sorry, I'm out of camera. 1, 2, I cut off like 2 of the extra leaves. So this is not a 5-sided. Oh, I think it broke. And then I used the maple leaves. These were maple leaves I found. There was only 3 parts on there where their little the 5th leaves were really tiny. I'm looking at that one. And this one didn't have the 5th leaf. So I'm just trying to keep it above the other one because I don't want them to stick together. And I did use wiggle eyes on this one. And then, of course, my one where I made a tree out of the leaves, and all I did was glue them down and make leaves be grass. And then I glued some leaves side by side to make a tree. You can add as much stuff in your picture as you can. So let me go ahead and switch my camera. Replace pin. There we go. So everyone, that was creating art from recyclable materials. the natural resources that we need in order to live. Because learning that leaves turn into soil when they compost and decompose and put nutrients back into the soil was a real eye opener for me. Because most people, we got to rake up the leaves and we bag them up, and we don't want them all in our yard. But I think I might let the leaves stay a little longer so that I can get some compost from them for my gardens in the spring. So yes, I think I'll just put them all in a big pile, though. I don't want them all over the place because, it's messy. But art is messy and it's supposed to be. So everyone, I will see you in the next video. Bye.